Supposed to come, but I had the sniffles. Didn't want to spread it.
I heard that you weren't feeling well.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you feel better quickly.
I'm sure it's nothing, but I just didn't want to take a chance in case it was more than just cold change weather.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
All right, I see Sharon is there. Welcome, Shabbat Shalom. I see Elizabeth is joining us online. Good, good, good. All right, we are getting there.
A maskless full house, eh?
No, we are wearing masks inside, and we still have space for a few more people.
That's too loud. That's too loud. That's too loud. That's too loud? Okay. Look, that's Nana and Papa. Huh? They're wondering where I am. Does it look bad? No, come on. They can't see. It's over webcam.
We want to welcome everyone. We're so glad you're here with us. Oh, I got to turn down the volume here so that we don't have that echo. Eventually, I'll get the hang of this. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Bruchim Habaim. Welcome on this fall Shabbat evening. We are glad that you are with us. For those who are here with us in person, we welcome you. For those who are with us in the Zoom room, we want to welcome you. For those who are joining us on Facebook Live and on YouTube, we're glad that you found your way to us and are here to celebrate Shabbat all together. We are going to begin this evening on page 129. A melody that is new for us, right, Cantor?
But it's been around for a while.
It's been around for a long time, but we haven't sung it here at Temple for a while. At the bottom of page 129, you'll find the words, Eile Chamda Libi, God is my heart's desire, Husana ve'alna tit'alam. We ask God to appear and not hide from us as we gather to welcome Shabbat. Eile Chamda Libi, Husana ve'alna tit'alam. We join with the cantor.
Eile Chamda Libi, Husana ve'alna tit'alam. 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 Eile Chamda Libi, Husana ve'alna tit'alam.
Again, we want to welcome everyone as we gather together, as we put this week behind us, as we look forward to this Sabbath day all together. Right above those words, also on page 129, we find the words, Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni. When I keep Shabbat, for instance, by coming to temple for services, then God watches over me. Our observance of Shabbat is a sign forever between God and me. We join in Ki eshmera Shabbat there on page 129.
Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni. Oti le'oleyad beino uveini. Oti le'oleyad beino uveini. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni. Ki eshmera Shabbat el yishmereni.
We turn now to our candle lighting on pages 120 and 121. We want to welcome back up our friend Lisette. All right, you ready?
Yep. Baruch, oh, sorry. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech העולם אשר קדשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
We continue on page 125. Going to put the words up on our screen for us for those who are watching from home. Page 125. Oh, I can even make it a little bit bigger than that. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Together, help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. We continue on page 127. The bottom of the page. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope together, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. On page 130, from Psalm 95, we read, Lechuna ranana l'Adonai naria letzur yishenu. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai, raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. For Adonai is a great God, the great ruler of all divine beings. In God's hands are the depths of the earth. The peaks of the mountains are God's. God is the sea, God made it, and the land which God's hands fashioned. Come, let us bow down and kneel, bend the knee before Adonai, our maker, for Adonai is our God. And we are the people God tends, the flock in God's care. Oh, if you would but heed God's charge this day. And from Psalm 96, we read, Shir l'Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shir l'Adonai, Kol ha'aretz, Shir l'Adonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru miyom le'yom Yeshuato, on page 132. Sing to Adonai a new song, sing to Adonai all the earth. Sing to Adonai, bless God's name, proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For Adonai is great and much acclaimed. For God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the peoples are mere idols, but Adonai made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple together. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai, for God is coming. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples in faithfulness. We continue with our psalm for the Sabbath day on page 140. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, a psalm, a song for the Sabbath day. Tov lahodot l'Adonai ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. It is good to praise God, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai. How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this together. The righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in the courts of our God. In old age, they still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness, attesting that Adonai is upright, my rock, in whom there is no wrong. Page 138, we join in Lecha Dodi.
Shabbat, Kabela, Lechatoti, Krakana, Shabbat, Kabela, Shamo Vizato Beti, Borecha, Tishmianu, El Hamyuchat Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad, Ushemo Tiferet, Venitila, Lechatoti, Krakala, Shabbat, Kabela, Lechatoti, Krakala, Shabbat, Kabela, Likrat Shabbat, Lechov Enecha, Ki Mekor, HaBeracha Merosh Mikedem, Nesucha, Sofa Haseh, B'mashavat Hilad, Lechadoti, Likrakala, Shabbat, Kabela, Lechatoti, Krakala, Shabbat, Kabela, Toi v'shalom, Ateret b'hala, Gam b'simcha, U'v'tzola toch emunei, Am segula bo'ikala, Lechatoti, Likrakala, Shabbat, Kabela, Lechatoti, Krakala, Shabbat, Kabela.
At the bottom of page 145, entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. We turn to page 146 and we rise for the call to worship.
Yadai, Baruch Adonai Amporah, Le'olam Vahed, Le'olam, 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 Vahed, Yadai,
Page 149. And I'll put the words back up on the screen. We continue in the English with our prayer of creation, Ma'ariv Aravim. Again, we're on page 149. And we read together in the English. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. We continue, the bottom of page 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאור ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוקיכם. אני, אדוני אלוקיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוקיכם.
On page 155, we read together the English of the words we just chanted. Together, love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are tested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. On page 159. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, for soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. And there on page 158, we join in the singing of our song of freedom, Micha Mocha.
Yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 Micha mocha paheni madonai Micha mocha neheda bakod Nora tehilo tosefele נורא תהילות תוסף הלב. מי כמוך בהני מתוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות תוסף הלב, נורא תהילות תוסף הלב. Yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 dai.
On page 160, there we find the words of our Hashkivenu prayer, our evening lullaby, as we ask God to watch over us as we go to sleep tonight and help us to rise up renewed to life in the morning. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. We join with the cantor.
Hashkifenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Grant us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. On page 165, we are reminded that prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Page 164, we rise and join together in the Amidah.
Adonai sifetai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol וזוכר חסקי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ולמתיר אסורים, ולמקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מהלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש, ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחלו הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Page 171. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Please be seated. We continue at the bottom of page 172 with the holiness of this Sabbath day. We read together in the English, our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel who sanctifies your name may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Page 175. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, shodcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We continue now on page 177 with our prayer for giving thanks. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha v'lechana lehodot. On page 178, we continue with our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amka, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amka, Tasim Leolam. Ki Ata Melech Adon, Lechol HaShalom. Ki Ata Melech Adon, Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amka, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, O Yisrael Amka, Tasim Leolam. Betov benecha levadech et amcha Yisrael, bechol eitu Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Ra'ov O Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. We take a few moments now for our own silent prayers. We turn now to page 371. There we find our prayers for healing. As we gather together to welcome Shabbat, we think of members of our families, friends, and neighbors who could use some healing in their lives. The prayers of our congregation go out, especially this Shabbat, on behalf of Lara Di Cristina, Ann Friedman, Vern Granston, Joel Webb. We think of all of those who are sick, all who are recovering from surgeries and procedures, all of those who are on the mend, all who are in need of some healing and wholeness in their lives. We pray that God will send a refuah shlema mehera, complete and speedy recovery, refuat nefesh, refuat guf, a renewal of body, soul, and mind. As we join together in our Misha Berach prayer for healing, there in the middle of page 371.
Bless the ones before us, help us find the good, make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yishemerach Imotenu, Bekoach HaBracha, Those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I begin with a spoiler alert. In this week's Torah portion, we read of the death of our matriarch and founding mother, Sarah. And yet the name of the portion is Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah. Genesis 23 begins with these words. Sarah's lifetime, the span of Sarah's life, came to 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, now Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham proceeded to mourn for Sarah and to bewail her. Now, the text could have just said that she died at the age of 127, but that's not what we read. Rather, it says that she lived 100 years, and she lived 20 years, and she lived 7 years. The rabbis explain that it is written this way because she truly lived all of the years she was given. Her first 100 years, the following 20 years, and her final 7 years. Her life was full and good because she lived those years fully, and she lived well. The emphasis, the beginning of our portion, is not on how Sarah died. In fact, no cause of death is even given, but rather on how she lived and all that she accomplished in her life. And so in this Torah portion in which we read of her death, we reflect on and we celebrate her life. In the Talmud, we read, the righteous in their death are called living. Now, does that mean that because of how she lived her life, Sarah is referred as if she were still alive? Does this mean that there really is life after death? Is this something that Jews believe? Well, maybe these questions are on my mind because of Halloween, which takes place this weekend. New Orleans right now, even more than normal, is filled with all kinds of spooky decorations. Everything from ghosts to witches to skeletons and spiders and cats and more. Many people have turned their front yards into mock cemeteries or graveyards, which in my humble opinion is a very strange tradition and or decoration. And yes, while Judaism does have certain beliefs about the supernatural and the magical, including our own ghosts, divics, demons, and golems, I don't think that that's what happened to our mother, Sarah. Sarah continues to be a part of the life of her family and her people, but without haunting anyone or anything like that. Rather, as we read in our liturgy, our beloved dead live on in the hearts of those who cherish their memories, and what they did is part of what we have become. Judaism has always placed an emphasis, more of an emphasis on life than death, on how we live our lives, and definitely on life after birth, not life after death. That doesn't mean that Judaism doesn't address what happens after we die. And we have a wide range of beliefs, but we don't really know what happens. It's a mystery. So we focus on what we do know and what we have some control over, our day-to-day lives and what type of people we are and how we want to be remembered. But there is a clear afterlife concept that we all share because we've seen it working in our lives. We call it the immortality of influence, a phrase that I learned from Rabbi Donald Rossoff, who credits it to Rabbi Harold Schulweis. We live on in the lives we have created and or shaped, in the students we have taught, in the institutions we have helped build, and in the people we have touched, even if that touch was only momentary or indirect. What we do forms the ethical wills we write each moment of our lives. How do we create this immortality of influence? We do it through our lives, our work, our actions, and our choices. It requires a lot of work and effort. How can we ensure this kind of eternal life for ourselves and those who have died but are still in our hearts? Certainly by leading the most moral, the most giving, the best lives we can. And thus we are role models for those whom we encounter, as well as those who will come after us. Tonight, I'd like to offer a few specific ways we can create and ensure this immortality of influence. One way is through giving tzedakah. Tzedakah is more than just charity or an act of love. It's an act of righteousness and justice. It is striving to do the right thing and to inspire others to do the same. In Proverbs, we read that tzedakah redeems from death. Each act of tzedakah not only benefits the recipient, but also enriches the life of the giver and sends out autographed ripples across the pond of being that last longer than we ourselves will last. And when one who has died is the catalyst for tzedakah, then his or her life, their lives continue to be a blessing. Another way we promote this immortality of influence is by remembering our dead. We retell their stories and we keep their memories alive. We pass down tales and sayings from one generation to the next. We do not need a single day of the dead to accomplish this. We remember our loved ones and share memories at our holidays and life cycle events and throughout the year. Another way we remember is by reciting Kaddish. We gather to recite these ancient words. The Kaddish prayer itself doesn't say anything about death. Rather, it is a praise of God, the source of life, who gives us the gift of life. Even when we are grieving, even at our saddest moments, we stop to thank God for the gift of life and thus remember that all life is a gift. And like Sarah, we are encouraged to make the most of the years we are given, living them fully and living them well. Kaddish is the unique Jewish link that binds the generations of Israel. Now, the grave doesn't hear the Kaddish, but the speaker does, and the words will echo in your heart. Another way we remember is by gathering to mark a yahrzeit, as many of you who are joining us this Shabbat are doing tonight, and by placing a plaque here in our sanctuary. These memorial boards help us to remember our loved ones who helped to build, support, and maintain the synagogue and all of our families that make up our holy congregation. It is a wonderful and beautiful tradition. Finally, we keep alive this immortality of influence by living meaningful Jewish lives and by strengthening the Jewish people. We are immortal because we are part of an eternal people. When we keep our Judaism alive, we keep alive all of the generations of our people, from Abraham and Sarah to today, as well as all of the lessons that they taught and they lived by. They live on. With Sarah's death was initiated her eternal life. When some people die, they leave nothing behind. But after Sarah and Abraham died, the Jewish people, their family, their legacy remained. For the first time in human history, there was continuity. Within the Jewish people live all of Abraham and Sarah's characteristics and values. Sarah and her righteousness are living still in us and through us. We are her immortality. As we strive for righteousness, our own lives become the life of Sarah. Thus, we keep alive Sarah and Abraham, along with all of our matriarchs and patriarchs, our leaders and teachers, all of those who came before us. They live on through us, and they inspire us still today. May we be worthy of their legacy and guarantors of their influence. May we focus on how we live and not on how we will die. May we strive to live all of our years, no matter how few or how many we are given, fully and well. May we live on through acts of tzedakah and remembrance, and thus keep alive those who came before and those who inspired us. May we dedicate our lives to strengthening our people and improving our homes, our communities, and our world. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will. We turn now in our prayer books to page 586, and we rise.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please be seated. We continue on page 589. I'll put the words back up on the screen for us. Again, page 589. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, or idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
This week on Wednesday, we as a united Jewish community observed the third yahrzeit, the third anniversary of the mass shooting and murder that took place at the Tree of Life Synagogue. Again, Wednesday marked 3 years. I want to share with you the statement made by President Joe Biden to mark this occasion. You can also find it on our website. 3 years ago, on a peaceful Shabbat morning, a lone gunman stormed into the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh's Squirrel Hill neighborhood and stole the lives of 11 souls in prayer. 11 others managed to escape, some with serious physical injuries, others with indelible scars of grief. The attack was the deadliest act of anti-Semitism in our nation's history. It was an assault on members of the Tree of Life, New Light, and Dor Chadash congregations, the American Jewish community, and our country. And it was a reminder that hate never goes away, it only hides. And if we give hate oxygen, it can consume. But the days, weeks, and months that followed also revealed the unyielding character of a community. The first responders who rushed into harm's way, the teenagers who organized the Havdalah vigil for a neighborhood in need, the art teacher who painted hearts and stars of David in the windows of a local coffee shop, the designer who formed an iconic image that defined a city and inspired a nation with 3 simple words: stronger than hate. That day and those that followed remind all of us to embrace the better angels of our nature and to turn pain into purpose. We must always stand up and speak out against anti-Semitism with clarity and conviction, and rally against the forces of hate in all its forms, because silence is complicity. We must recognize in others our shared humanity and strive to summon unexpected faith in unanticipated moments, and the hope that we might heal and rebuild. That continues to be the work of my administration. laying our country's first ever comprehensive strategy to address domestic terrorism, signing legislation aimed at strengthening our efforts to counter unlawful acts of hate, taking executive actions to protect houses of worship, and pressing forward with executive and legislative action to reduce all forms of gun violence. This Shabbat, in synagogues across the country, worshipers will sing the timeless words from the book of Proverbs. Eitz chaim hi lamachazikim ba. It is a tree of life for those who hold fast to it. As we mark 3 years since this heinous attack, we resolve to remember the lives lost and commit to protecting a future worthy of their memories. May the survivors and the families of the victims hold fast to the teachings of their faith and find comfort in the embrace of their community and their country. I think it was a beautiful and moving statement from the White House. And so this Shabbat, we remember the 11 Jews who were killed that Shabbat morning in Pittsburgh. Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil Rosenthal, David Rosenthal, Bernice Simon, Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, and Irving Younger. With them, we think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us as we mourn the recent loss of Willie Bowman, Wayne Hershey, Marilyn Lassen, Richard Shorenstein Jr., Eileen Gale Schwartzer Thompson. And we think of those who died of this season in years past, those whom we've taken into our hearts with our own, as we lovingly recall the Artzeiten of Miriam Kornman Ampolsk, Miriam Shapiro Aronson, Eugene Albert Aschaffenberg, Sarah Blum Babin, Vera Levy Barton, Lee Barton Muller, Renee Samuel Baer, Stanford M. Beer Jr., Rabbi Murray Blackman, Amelia L. Blum, Irving Carr, Moses Frischman, May Webman Goldberg, Alexander Hanau, Gilbert Hellman, Ella Schlenker Hess, David Jacobson, Ann Bograd Kiefer, J.N. Moses Keir, Robert L. Coleman, Jules Jacob Lazarus, Pam Frank Lenoir, Sigmund Mendelssohn, Leah Rosen Miller, Beatrice Levy Newmeyer, Albert J. Newman, M.K. Opatowski, Ethel G. Schroeder, Rebecca Sina, Jack Sitkoff, and Gail H. Victor. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing as we rise as one community to recite the words of Kaddish Yatom. On page 598, we read together, Yitzkadzal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, v'almad zivrach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shmei dekudisha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchatza v'shirata, tush b'chatza v'nechamata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shlomo Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
V'imru, 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 amen. V'imru, 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 amen.
Please be seated. My pleasure to call on our temple president, Ellen Cohen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
The beam of flowers for this Shabbat were sponsored by Harold Victor and Sally Victor Siegel in memory of Gail H. Victor. We have virtual Torah study tomorrow morning, beginning at 9:15 a.m., followed by our Shabbat morning service, which will begin at 10:30 a.m. Both can be accessed online via Zoom and will be streaming live on our Facebook page and on our website. As we welcome in a new month, make sure to keep a lookout next week for our Temple Sinai Bulletin. This special Hanukkah issue covers activities, opportunities, events, and celebrations taking place all throughout the months of November and December. From B'nai Mitzvah and Book Club to Latkes and Saints games, there are plenty of ways to keep involved with your Temple Sinai family.
Thank you, Ellen. A reminder that on Wednesday at 7 p.m., our Wednesday Night Live adult education classes, I'm going to start a new discussion. For the month of October, we discussed Jewish beliefs about God. We're going to continue What Do Jews Believe, Part 2, and we're going to focus for the next 3 weeks on Torah and mitzvot. Everyone is welcome to join me Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock on Zoom. And believe it or not, the end of October is here. So next Friday evening at our 6 o'clock service, we will honor all those who are celebrating birthdays and anniversaries in the month of November. We invite you to join us for services next Shabbat. When we conclude our service here in the sanctuary, we're going to invite everyone who's here in person to come with us outside, and we will make Kiddush and Motzi all together outside and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. And we will try to save some challah for those who are joining us online, but no promises. We're going to conclude our service this evening on page 634 at the bottom of the page. It says, Ma yafeh hayom, how lovely, how beautiful is this day dedicated to Sabbath peace. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom, we rise and join together.
Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Adonai Oz Lamo Yitain, may God grant strength to our people. Adonai Yivarech et Amo v'Shalom, may God bless us, our families, our congregation, our community, our country, and all those who serve and protect it. May God bless the land and people of Israel and all the world with the blessing of Sabbath peace. Shabbat Shalom. Again, those who are here in the sanctuary, let's wish each other Shabbat Shalom, and we'll make our way outside through those doors over there. For those who are online, we want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom. It's so nice to see you. Because we have Mississippi as well represented tonight. Terry, Mary, it's good to see you. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Mark. Oh, and I see we've got Caitlin and family too are here. Excellent. Terry, and now watch Terry and Mary smile. Exactly. Judy and Chris, it's good to see you guys again. Judy, sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Janice and Mike, it's good to see you there, even though Mike's hiding from me. Elizabeth, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Jane and Billy. Billy, we're sorry for your loss as well.
Thank you, Rabbi.
John and
Shabbat
Doris,
shalom.
it's good to see you. Kurt, Shabbat Shalom. Sharon, Shabbat Shalom. Archie, Shabbat Shalom. I think Janie and Billy Ripner are there. Shabbat Shalom.
Here's a
To the folks from Tulsa, Shabbat Shalom. It's good to see you.
see his tail.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful Shabbos, and we'll see you soon. We're going to go outside and make Kiddush and Motzi.
Go outside, man.
Shalom.